So this is your review for your test. All right, so everything in this PowerPoint is information you need to know for your test with the exception of the review section, which is on your review sheet that I'll hand out on Monday. Okay, so this is our test review for the test coming up next Wednesday. All right, in the first section, and this, of course, is for your quiz on Monday also. I want you to just real quick on your paper write the ratio of hamburger meat to noodles and find the value. All right, so what's my ratio, guys? 6 to 8. Okay, now I take that value, 6 to 8, and what is the value? 3/4. Okay, so 0.75 or 3/4 of a cup of what? Meat per 1 cup of noodles. We just found the unit rate too, essentially, in the value. Okay, so make sure the interpretation part is the label. So on your quiz on Wednesday, some of you forgot to label. That's why you lost 3 points, because the interpretation part is really important on the ratios. All right, completing the ratio table. Go ahead and do this. All right, what's the value?
3.
Value is 3. So 3 all the way across. All right, so this is going to be 1. What's going to be my top number in the third column? 4/4.5, or what was it?
4.5.
9/2. Or 4.5 is technically the same value as 9/2. Okay, now 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. Okay, so that's my ratio table. And remember, you are going to have to, on your quiz and your test, write your equivalent ratios. 3/2 to 1/2, 3 to 1, 9/2 to 3/2, and 6 to 2. Okay, so we're just going to pull the ratios out of the table and write our equivalent ratios. All right, finding the unit rate. So it's really important here that we just write it in the order that it's asking for the rate. Okay, so how many grams of fat are there for, here's my key word, for every tablespoon of peanut butter? So that tells me what's going to be in the denominator. Could I have just as easily flipped that? I absolutely could, and if I had flipped it, you need to make sure that you flip your values, okay, so you get the unit rate correct. All right, so you can just kind of take these notes with me if you want. It's going to be 3/4 divided by 2/3. So I'm dividing the first quantity by the second quantity, and remember, the second quantity is the quantity I want for the unit rate, all right, which is the same thing as 3/4 times 3/2. Don't you love it once it flips, then you can't reduce anything? Okay, but that ends up being 9/6, or
9/8.
Sorry, 9/8. Sorry, it's been a long day. 9/8, and we say grams of fat per. Yeah, y'all gotta watch me. It's been a long day. I'm gonna make mistakes. Per tablespoon of peanut butter, Zach. Peanut butter. Okay, all right, so the label is really important for unit rate because, again, you're showing me that you understand which quantity you are finding the unit rate for. Okay, now this one's pretty simple. Don't you love it when they're like just this cut and dry? For every 2.5 years, so we're going 60 centimeters for every 2.5 years, and we're dividing those. What is 60 divided by 2.5? 60 divided by, okay, so it's going to be 24 centimeters. That something is maybe growing, maybe like a caterpillar, every year, per year, every year, each year, whatever. Okay? All right, so now I am making a comparison, but the pitfall that a lot of people fell into last time was what? What did you forget to do?
The
What did you forget? The units. Yes, the units. I have years and months. Okay, so I need them both in the same unit. Zach, I need them both in the same unit. Okay, so I would change years to months. How many months are in 2.5 years? Nah. How many months are in 2.5 years? Close.
24.
24 is in 2 years, and then add 6 to 30. Yes. So I have 60 over 30, which is 2 centimeters per year. 2 centimeters per year. That's a bad Y. And then I have 30, oh my goodness, over 15, 2 centimeters per year. So what would be the comparison here? Are they equivalent?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and I'm showing that by comparing them in the same rate. So if I had divided 60 by 2.5, I would have said no. Okay, and then my answer would have been wrong. So make sure they're in the same unit. To tell whether the ratios form a proportion, we're just going to do one of these. Now, when you go back and watch the video over the weekend, you can do the other one if you want. Just more practice. But what do we need to put these ratios, what format? To tell if they form fractions, 12 over 22 and 18 over 33. Okay, so clearly there's no even connection between these numbers. Okay, so I can't solve it using mental math to say, yeah, for sure, they're a proportion. So I'm going to use cross products. And really, I would encourage you to use cross products every time on this. All right, so what is 18 times 22? What is it? 396. And what is 12 times 33?
396.
Oh, looky there. Yes. But you have to show your totals. You have to show your totals, guys. All right, so telling whether or not they form a proportion. Okay, are the quantities proportional? All right, you don't necessarily need to write down the table. Just look up here. Okay, 1/4, is that fully reduced? Yes, 1/4. 3/12 reduces to what? 1/4. 6 over 24? 1/4. 8 over 32? 1/4. So what's my answer? Yes, and my proof is in my values that I'm showing that all the values of the ratios are 1/4. Okay, that's my yes. Okay, now solving the proportion, I have 3 methods that I could use. All right, go ahead and solve both of these proportions. Guys, please be quiet. On the first one, we have a missing link of 3. Okay, now 3 times 9 or times 3 or divided by 3 gives me 9. Times, so 8 times 3 is 24. All right, now on the next one, I have to do cross products because of my distributive property. How did I know that 8 was the number that needed to go out here? How did I know that? Because, right, that's my cross product to s plus 1. And then I have 4 times 4. Okay, so I have 8s, please be quiet, plus 8 equals 16. Subtract 8 from both sides. 8s equals 8. Divide, and s equals 1. S equals 1.
I did mental math and I got the same answer, but it was like
2, yeah, because there's a clear connection, and then you could do 2 times 2s plus 1, I guess, and then
4 times 2s.
I would just use cross products. I'd have to look at that. All right, you have 2 problems modeling real life. You need to find unit rate. 0.8 miles every 45 seconds. The other one goes 0.55 miles every 30 seconds. Find the unit rate for both. All right, we wrote our unit rate backwards, okay? So it says how far apart, so the distance needs to go on the bottom. Now subtract them from each other. Okay, so you get 1.7 for every, so the distance apart starting at the first minute is 1.7, but then what do I multiply it by? 15 minutes.
How did you get 1.7?
Because I subtracted them from each other. Because that's the distance that they're, well, yeah, but I rounded. I just rounded. Times 15, 25 and a half. miles apart after 15 minutes, okay, in opposite directions. All right, the other ones, I'm thinking should be pretty basic to set up. The other ones are gonna be just your proportions. If your first ratio is 1 to 4, okay, what does the 1 stand for? Carbon and hydrogen atoms. So on the other side, what value is 1564? The denominator. And then the numerator is maybe C for carbon or X or whatever. 4C equals 1564. What do I do to both sides? Divide by 4. 1564 divided by 4. C, carbon is 391. All right, and that's kind of just a quick overview of what will be on your quiz and test next week.